What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to day 7 of the Renegade Entrepreneur Blueprint. Oh man, day 7. I got a $1 million idea for you here in day 7. $1 million idea. Today I'm going to teach you how to have people literally begging for what you're selling. Sounds too good to be true, right? I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine being able to create an extra $2,000 to $3,000 in the next 5 days, just because you decided you wanted to. I want you to imagine talking to, your lady, or, ladies, you're talking to your guy, your significant other, and deciding that you wanted to take a trip to the Caribbean, and being able to create the money for the trip in a matter of days. Just because you wanted to. You didn't start out with anything. 5-star resort, everything. But just because you wanted to, and you had the ability to. Create money right out of thin air. Or I want you to imagine just being able to quit your job tomorrow and, working for a week out of the month. And, whether you work the rest of the month, it was basically depending on whether you wanted to or not. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about creating money out of thin air just because you want to. And I'm going to show you how to do that in today's video. I know it sounds too good to be true, and I'll tell you how I came across this information initially. I was in my first sales job. I hadn't sold a dime. It was 6 months into the job, and I was actually on warning to be terminated. I had a couple of months to go before they were going to let me go. It was 6 months into it, and I hadn't sold a thing yet. And the crazy thing is, I was actually working around guys who were six-figure earners. I mean, guys were making $250,000, $200,000 a year. And here I was 6 months into it, and I was selling nothing. So, at the sales meetings and everything, you can imagine how awkward that is. I mean, I'm in a room full of, superstars, and here I am. I'm on the bottom of the sales sheet every month at this meeting, and I got a pretty big ego. I mean, that was pretty tough for me. If I wasn't at the risk of being homeless, I would have probably just left beforehand. I mean, it was really awkward, really embarrassing time in my life, but it was actually good because what it did is it led me on this search of personal development. I study all kinds of personal development, all kinds of sales material. Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. I mean, you name it. Pretty much anybody I could get my hands on, I basically listened to, or I read, or I went to the seminar, and I was trying to figure out, like, damn, why is it that these guys can make all this money, and here I am, I'm struggling. And so what I learned is that when I was talking to people, I was so insecure about being in that role. I was so just not ready for that opportunity, that when I would sit down to talk with somebody, whether it was on the phone or whether it was in person, all my attention was on myself. All my attention was on, how bad I needed to sell, and people could actually sense that. They could feel it. I wasn't in control of the situation, which in sales, confidence is everything. So I wasn't very confident. All my attention was on myself. The moment I shifted all my attention from myself onto my prospects, I went from the bottom of the company sales ranking to the top 10%. It was actually in a matter of months that I was able to do that. And what I learned was that I had to understand what the person I was speaking with, I had to understand what kind of conversation that person was having with themselves before I could ever connect with them, or before I could ever sell to them. I had to understand the conversation that person was having with themselves. And once I did that, I was able to position whatever I was selling to, a standpoint where they could actually accept it, where they actually wanted it. And I know this sounds a little bit manipulative, but, we're in a manipulative business. Manipulation is only a bad thing if you're hurting people, but if you're actually helping people, it's actually not a bad thing. Think about that person that so say you're in the weight loss industry. Think about that person who has been trying to lose weight, all their life, and they come across your information, and because you can speak to their language, you can actually help that person lose weight. You can actually help them deal with a problem that they've been struggling with their entire life. And when I say speak to the language is, once you understand the conversation that someone is having with themselves, you can actually speak to their pain. You can actually speak to their problems. And that's the thing. The thing is, I see tons of people do this wrong. And you see them all the time, I'm sure. They market something, whether it's on Facebook or you come across some marketing online. And the information, the sales presentation is really just a dumping of information. This is a bunch of information thrown at the audience with no regard for who they're talking to or what the issues are that the person or whether their audience may be having. And that's where people go wrong at. See, because what happens is we become so over inundated with information these days, between your cell phone going off, your TV, the internet, the radio, all these different things bombarding us with information. What happens is we start to filter. And because there's so much information coming in at one time, we only really pay attention to, what we're really dealing with at that particular point in time. If something is relevant to you at that particular point in time, whether it can help you fix a problem, whether it could help you, achieve happiness in some area of your life, or whatever the case may be, we scan. And the only thing that we really pay attention to is something that, we actually connect with, because it's relevant to us. Either, we connect with it on an emotional level or whatever the case may be. But once you learn how to do that, once you learn how to speak to a person's pain, their problems, and offer a solution to that, people will actually literally beg you for what you're selling. And the biggest way you do that is you actually have to know directly, exactly who you're talking to, who your target market is. And another big mistake that marketers make is they actually try to market everything to everyone because they don't want to exclude anyone because they're afraid they're going to miss out on somebody who might buy what they have to offer. And if you talk to everybody, you actually talk to nobody. So again, pinpoint, who you're talking to. Know exactly who you're talking to, who they are. Are they married? Are they single? Do they have children? How much do they weigh? Do they watch sports? What kind of sports do they watch? And then everything that you market should only speak directly to that person. And don't worry about anybody that you may be excluding. If it's for them, they'll pick it up anyway. But what happens is you'll connect with that person so deeply. You'll connect with that person who you're speaking with specifically on an energetic level that you couldn't have connected with them on had you just been marketing to everyone in a one-size-fits-all fashion. Now, you're probably watching this video series because, you're sick of working. Whether it's because you don't like your boss, whether you're sick of working paycheck to paycheck, whether it's because, you just see more for yourself. You want to travel around the world. You don't want to be stuck to a desk or stuck to somewhere where you have to show up and dedicate 8-10 hours a day of your life every day. And so if that's you, I want you to really get clear on what exactly it is that you want, what exactly it is that you want to create for yourself. I want you to develop a plan if you don't have one already. And I want you to give me a call. I want you to fill out the application so, we can make sure we're a good fit for one another. But if so, I want to give you a call, connect with you, see what your idea is, see how I can help you market yourself online and get you on your way to earning money and enjoying the life that you always wanted to live. I can tell you it's a phenomenal, opportunity to be able to, be out here and create money out of thin air just because you want to create it. It's an overwhelming feeling, and I want to give that to you. So I want you to fill out the application below. We'll go through a 30-minute coaching session and, again, get you on your way to making money. I appreciate you watching the Renegade Entrepreneur Blueprint. And make sure you tune in to the Dream Chaser Show. Make sure you check out the blog, dreamchasershow.com. Make sure you check out the YouTube series. Dream Chaser Show is the username for YouTube. And until the next time we talk, live big, dream big. Peace.